Welcome to GothCast. I am Dr. Sanders.
I'm Cameron.
That's right, you're Cameron. What is it? I swear, every time I think of I think of some witty name.
So witty.
It does not exist yet.
No.
Anyway, today we have a band that's been requested, seems like many years at this point.
Millennia.
Yeah, it seems like a long time. And we're going to be talking about one of the bands that is associated with the term death rock very heavily. And people have argued that too because their sound, especially like with what we think of as like modern death rock, is different than what I think as death rock was thought of back then. Mm-hmm. Definitely we hear a lot of it here, the characteristic traits of that particular genre. But when we're talking about Skeletal Family.
Yeah.
A band that has a logo I cannot figure out.
Yeah, it's a weird logo, but I kind of like it.
It's like a bird thing with a skull.
I think it's got a tail as well. I think that's a tail there.
I think you're right, but I've always wondered what that was. So normally, on the episodes we do 4 albums, and if we can't do 4 albums, we do something similar or something. Try to figure out whatever. This particular episode, we're doing it differently because we're doing it by vocalist. And that's not saying we won't do a further episode of Skeletal Family, because there are many albums that we're not covering here today. We're actually just covering the first 2 albums and a compilation. And the reason we're doing that is because with Skeletal Family, you have what people think of as like a classic era of the band, and then you have a more modern era. And not saying that there's like one's better than the other or whatever. It's just that
they're different.
I thought it'd be really hard to be like, this... like to split it up between vocalists and whatever. And there's a lot of material that we could cover with just this first singer. I just thought it was kind of a nice way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't,
cool.
It wasn't like Christian Death where you have exactly 3 or 4 albums of a singer. And then the next, I was like, the next singer was this many albums. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't quite so neat. So I had to find a way to be like, okay, can we get all the Anne Marie Hurst albums into one thing? And 2 main albums and a compilation that has an insane amount of music.
Yeah, it was substantial. It was a substantial amount of listening, so yeah. Yes.
So what we're going to be looking at today is going to be the albums Burning Oil from 1984. We're going to have Futile Combat, F-U-T-I-L-E, not Futile, F-E-U-D-A-L.
Yes.
I think it's a play on it. But 1985. And then we're going to have Eternal Singles, Albums, Rarities, BBC Sessions, Live Demos, 1982 to 2015.
It's everything. It's everything you've ever wanted of Skeletal Family.
Yeah. So that's like one title. It's like Eternal Singles, Albums, Rarities, whatever. It's a 2016 release that tried to encompass pretty much, I think, everything with the original singer.
Yeah.
And so it's just a band that's really famous. I think a lot of people are familiar with especially the visual aspect of the band. The big red mop of hair of Anne Marie Hurst. It's a distinctive look, and one that I think a lot of people are, definitely a lot of people share the photos nowadays. And what do I always say?
What do you always say?
I say that preservation and like music videos and all stuff.
You're big in the music videos. Any sort of visualization, it just lasts forever.
It does. And this is a band where there's a lot of photos. There's a decent amount of documentation compared to some other bands back then, and the visuals are very distinctive.
Right.
I guess more in line with today's stuff too. Like also people like crazy colored hair and aggressive kind of music. That's why I think that a lot of people share this era of the band more so than maybe some of the other ones. And also people just love being like, oh, I wish I was born back then. So this is the best.
This is the best one. Yeah.
That's a whole different discussion. But we're going to be taking a look at this stuff. Let's get some history of the band, though. You may be wondering, Skeletal Family just started.
Yeah, no, they just rose out of the ground.
No, Cameron, that is incorrect.
Of course.
This band. So, the band, they are from Keighley in West Yorkshire, all right? Formed in 1982. So, you may be saying, wait, 1982, the first album wasn't until 1984. What we have is basically the remnants of a different band previously called The Elements. So The Elements, they actually were more of like a new wave kind of standard sort of rock outfit. They released an album called Elementary in 1981.
How funny.
It's actually, yeah, right? It's actually pretty good, honestly. You have essentially the original lineup. You still have Roger Trotwood Knoll, Stan Greenwood, on guitars, but you have Christina Willett and Rosemary Robb. It's Christina on drums and Rosemary on vocals. And yeah, the new wave thing, you kind of hear the hints of what's going to be Skeletal Family, but it definitely is leaning more towards the pop sensibility of music at the time. It's a good album. It's what many people know this band for once they got the stabilized lineup, or what people think of as like the classic lineup of the band, which is going to be, again, Roger Trotwood, Noel on bass. Mm-hmm. You can have Martin Henderson on drums, Stan Greenwood on guitars, of course, and Anne Marie Hurst for this era of the group. Now, a lot of people associate with Sisters of Mercy, which is like one of the most famous goth bands ever, because they did tour with them. Actually, some recordings that we're going to hear actually with Andrew Eldridge on it, which is cool. Awesome. And that was probably one of the things that really kind of propelled them. And of course, Anne Marie Hurst would go on to form Ghost Dance with Gary Marks from Sisters of Mercy, who is in like one of my favorite albums of all time, First and Last and Always. Such a good guitarist. It's a band that was very short-lived for the history. You know, by 1984, released their first album, Burning Oil, and then by 1987, I think like 1986. I mean, there's some disputes about that, but I'm pretty sure by 1986 they were already releasing singles with a different singer. So anyway, that's the whole thing we can get into.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into the first album, right? 1984. That's the year. Can you picture in your mind? I can picture it because I have a calendar.
Wow.
Burning Oil. So this album was actually released, made it to number 1 on the British independent charts. It's got some crazy stuff on it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, apparently it was recorded in 4 days, is what I read.
I could see that.
I could see that. Yeah. It's kind of a crude album. Although I really like crude albums, so that's why I thoroughly enjoyed this one. The songs are very cool, very reverby, a bit new for me, but I really liked it.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that before this, we did have the single. There were singles being released before this.
Right.
I did want to mention Steve Crane on drums for the single Trees. Outside of that, the rest of the band is. But for the album, you have the lineup I talked about. But yeah, it does almost feel like just a rehearsal.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the guitar sounds, the rhythm sound, everything just sounds kind of the same throughout the whole album.
Yeah.
Almost as like a live show, but recorded and mixed a little bit.
Yeah.
That really depends on what you're going to like as far as that. I really feel that you start to, once you hear it, you're like, oh, this is definitely like a death rock sounding album.
Yeah.
Because you have just these driving rhythm tracks and heavy bass, but like the drums are just
drums are cool.
Like,
you were saying they were very tribal, which I totally agree with.
Like just a lot of tom usage.
Yeah, so many toms. I love it.
But that's what's really cool about this record. But I mean, just right off the bat, So Sure, tom intro, just and the one thing we're gonna see with this band, it's pretty funny, but I think maybe this one was unintentional. The beginning riff for So Sure, right when it starts the album, sounds like a 007 theme.
Oh yeah,
it totally just like and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a goth version of 007 right here.
Doing a lot of goth versions of different songs. We'll see.
Yes, exactly. But you have like everything you could ever think of for goth music, right? Shimmery acoustic guitars. You have super reverb heavy vocals, and even the guitar sounds that aren't like acoustic, whatever, they're very cutting through the mix and very reverby, and just it's more about the rhythm I find for this band. I
agree. They have a really, really strong rhythm section. I thoroughly enjoyed the keys in this band. The synth sounds that they use are so cool. I love them.
Yeah, and we're gonna hear a lot of that later on.
Yeah.
But for the first album, it's kind of crazy that for the first album they stick a lot with just the rock band formula.
Yeah, totally.
There's some overdubs of piano and like a little bit of stuff, like especially on like Woman and Child.
Oh yeah.
But it really sticks to the kind of just the band formation for most of it, which is cool. You have atmospheric pieces like The Wind Blows with again drum rolls like abound. A lot of like the bass is what comes through and sticks out to me the most. In fact, instead of being called Skeletal Family, this might be called Rhythm Family.
Yeah. I found that a lot in the song Waiting Here. That song's like a demented children's song. It's kind of weird. Just that really cool marching rhythm of, again, the very reverby toms.
Yeah.
But I think that has just like a really cool rhythm to it that I thoroughly enjoyed.
In fact, the guitar riff almost reminds me of like Western. Like it has that kind of sound, and there's a lot of that. Stan Greenwood has a very distinctive sound on his guitar.
Yeah,
and that's one thing about this band that is maybe overlooked sometimes is it's like, yes, if you hear one or two songs, it sounds kind of like other goth music, right? But that's the one good thing about doing GothCast is we get to really hone in on like, oh, this is the strengths.
Yeah.
Because we listen to so much of the band.
Exactly.
But Stan Greenwood has a really distinctive kind of guitar tone. And yeah, maybe not so much of a guitar hero, what you think of, not pulling up.
But I think he knows his strengths and weaknesses, and he works with them in a great way that complements the rest of the songs. The guitar isn't too overbearing in any of the songs. I didn't find it didn't seem like he was trying to, hog the limelight in any way, shape, or form. He was really concerned about making sure the song sounded good and sounded balanced, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs on this record.
Yeah,
Someone New.
Oh yeah,
opening bass lines. By the way, there's a lot of opening bass lines on this, like And I, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So the one things I really always like about songs is if they have a heavy kind of rock or guitar component and then it sounds kind of dancey.
Yeah.
Like if they can kind of like meld those two without it being freaking disco or something.
Yeah.
That to me is what Someone New did for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool because, I guess I know it's 1984, right? So by this point, there'd already been a few really seminal goth albums that had come out. And yes, you could say maybe they're playing off of some of the stuff. Like I definitely hear some of like The Cure's pornography in this album. People probably debate that. Like the, you never know what musicians are hearing or picking up on.
Right.
But like the chorusy bass lines and Someone New and throughout the album really remind me of that album, and in a good way. I'm not saying, this is like, it reminds me of The Cure's pornography, so
they stole it. No, and not at all.
No, I think
that's what musicians do. You gotta take inspiration and build off of what people have laid down before you. I mean, that's the whole point. I think they did it in a great way.
Yeah.
So,
and I hear a lot of that too, especially with And I.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's something with I think it's the drums and the bass that really get to me with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the guitar, but it seems like that's really where I'm hearing. I'm just like, man, it sounds like Hanging Garden by The Cure or something. Yeah. But really good.
I really liked Black Juju. That song is a really, really cool one. The vocals reminded me a lot of Nina Hagen, which are like just the fluctuation in pitch and going up and down. Just really, really made me think of Nina Hagen, who I really like. So I love the similarity between those two.
Yeah. Do you know who did that song originally? Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
I should know that.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
I love Alice Cooper. I didn't forget that.
It's a 1971 Love to Death album. That's where the song's from. Black Juju. It's not an original.
It's a great cover, though. I really like the cover.
It is, yeah. It actually is pretty close to the original as well, too.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Like that Nina Hagen thing, I think you're right on with that.
Yeah.
Because Anne Marie Hurst does a lot with her voice of going like, like up and down. And there's not a ton of overdubs as far as I can tell of like the vocals. There are a few.
Yeah.
But, some like the playing around with like pitches and stuff. But
yeah,
the actual like performance is pretty amazing, at least as far as vocally. I have heard from many people, and I've seen also like discussion on the internet about like saying, oh, Anne Marie Hurst's vocals are just really rough. I would say from a technical standpoint, like if you're going to be like, I'm a vocal teacher or something like that.
Yes, they probably are rough.
There's a little bit of flatness, and especially in this record, you're going to hear more of that. And, some of the pitchy stuff, it really just depends. And it's funny because on Futile Combat, the next album, we basically see the same exact thing as far as like, the style of performance. But I think with the bigger studio budget, it's just being able to incorporate it better as far as like a mixing sense.
Yeah, I agree. I've never minded rough vocals or raw vocals or anything like that. Like that's something that I absolutely look for in a band. I'm like, man, if the singer's just giving it all they got, whether or not they have the skills to do so, like kudos.
Yeah.
Like as long as you're giving the best performance you can, good. You're good in my book. So
yeah, exactly. And I feel that here. I feel like this is a very energetic record. Some of it is a little atmospheric and maybe, I don't want to say drony because there's not a lot of long songs on this album.
No, it's not drony, but atmospheric is a good way to put it. It's got a very big sound to it. You can definitely feel the depth in a lot of the instruments. Yeah,
exactly. Also, I want to mention this for Ritual. Okay, this song sounds to me, if you want to hear like, a death rock song to me, listen to Ritual off this album.
Yeah.
It's aggressive, and it literally reminds me of Incubus Succubus by Ich Small Deutschland. And that song came out first, so I thought I would mention that. But that song just really reminds me of it. So definitely very death rock to me. And like this band definitely strays in and out from like post-punk to just standard goth music to, you know, like gothic rock to death rock kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's interesting about the group is it's not just the exact same thing. Yes, this album does sound like it was all recorded in a very similar time frame, like a rehearsal, but
the songs are distinct enough.
Yeah, like I understand the criticisms.
Yes,
you know, especially with this record, because I think a lot of the stuff that sticks out is going to bug people, like the vocals jumping above all the other instruments randomly, like the like it gets too loud and stuff. Like as far as mixing, even on the new like mixes or the Spotify version,
still pretty loud. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're kind of stuck with that. What do you think of the strengths of it? Huh?
The strengths of it are definitely the sheer just rawness of the album. I think that's really cool about it. And again, the rhythm section is super strong and something that kind of just makes you want to get up and move. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I'm gonna play Art Critic with the album cover. I don't know what is up with this album cover.
Yeah, it's weird.
I've never really liked it that
much. I guess that's supposed to be like a plume of smoke behind someone's head. I'm not sure whose head that is, but
I'm assuming one of the band members. I mean, I guess.
Assuming.
But I've never been a big fan of that album cover.
It's kind of weird.
I think they could have done more with it.
I don't get what's up with the letters in the squares.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not into that.
I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't like to play Art Critic too much with album covers. But
I don't hate the background image. The thing that actually pisses me off is the letters in squares. That bums me out more than anything on that.
I just never was a fan of that. Like that's one thing I just never.
I don't know, for a band with such a striking image, I would hope that the album cover would be something a little flashier.
That's exactly it. I don't know what it doesn't fit to me.
Yeah.
Like the music contained in this does not fit to me with that album cover. It never has. That's the one reason I mention it too, is that it's like I've seen this album for years and years and years and years, and it just never clicks to me that like the silhouette of a guy in a hat on the album cover.
Yeah.
Never really got that. But overall, I think it's a pretty good album. These albums have gone in and out of kind of obscurity, like as far as being able to purchase them. The original versions of them, like actual vinyl record, I mean, years ago, it was pretty hard to find them. They came out with CD re-releases that include some of the singles, like Trees and We're going to talk about some of those later. You know, that's a great way to listen to it, and it sounds, a little better than some of the other ways you could have listened to it before.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Burning Oil is a good album. Not my favorite of the band. I think
it's a good start, though.
Yeah, no, it's a great start.
It's a great start.
And I think you probably like this a little more than I do.
Yeah, I like raw music, so.
I also think that just for me, and like maybe it's just that I listen to so much music, the variety, there's not a huge amount of variety for me on this record.
That's fair.
And that's not, I think it's intentional. I think it's like, hey, this is a band like playing.
Here's our sound.
Yeah.
That's I mean, it's establishing the sound of the band, which I love listening to people's first albums just to hear how they establish themselves. That's like one of my favorite things. So that's why I'm always I just always like the raw first album. They're just fun.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because next record we're going to see a pretty big change in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, Burning Oil is good. By the way, always makes you think of the band Midnight Oil.
Midnight Oil.
How do we sleep when the beds are burning? I had to throw that in because every time I see Burning Oil, I'm like, Midnight Oil. So anyway, that is Burning Oil.
Awesome.
Hello, Goth people. Are you enjoying the podcast? Yes, well, it's time for random, interesting goth stuff.
A.K.A. Riggs. yes, quite indeed.
Okay, all right, well, I don't know what that was. But yeah, it's Riggs. So, Tim Burton apparently is making a live-action Addams Family spinoff about Wednesday for Netflix.
Oh my god, more Addams Family stuff, all right.
I'm so happy, because Tim Burton's been trying to make an Addams Family thing for a million years, even down to the very first 90s film.
Yep.
I talked about that instead of the review you can look at on YouTube.
On GothCast.
But yeah, it's apparently The Verge says it's going to be a coming-of-age series focused on Wednesday Addams that will be called Wednesday.
Interesting. I'm kind of excited about that, actually.
It doesn't have a cast, doesn't have anything.
Nope. Okay.
It's going to be Tim Burton's... You know what's weird? It says... Okay, this article says it's going to be Tim Burton's first thing for television. He did this Hansel and Gretel thing for Disney like 100 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's so creepy.
I'll have to watch that.
It was like a lost media thing for years. Oh, here we go. In addition to Burton, Wednesday will also feature Smallville's Alfred Goh and Miles Miller as showrunners. So Smallville and Tim Burton people. Okay, well, they got a lot of episodes made.
Okay,
also.
cool.
You know? Hey,
it's an Addams Family Tim Burton thing. That's cool.
It's gonna be 8 episodes, at least for the first season, if it does well. And she's gonna go to attend the Peculiar Nevermore Academy. It will show her deal with relationships around school, her psychic abilities. You couldn't see my face when I said that, but it's like...
It went.
Yeah. And mysteries surrounding both a murder in the local town and her parents' own supernatural past. And it's going to be, again, a standalone thing. It's not going to be related to any of the stuff that comes out. Which it never is, really. Right. I mean, as of all the Addams Family stuff I've reviewed, the only thing that's ever been like a carryover has been a Addams Family 1991 movie and the Addams Family Values.
Right.
So everything else just seems to be independent of one another. So...
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully it's a redemption from that absolutely god-awful 2019 Addams Family film.
I didn't even watch it. I literally didn't even bother. I saw ads for it, and I was just like, I just rather watch the 1991 film.
So bad. Belgrado is coming out with a new album. It's going to be awesome. Belgrado's just a great kind of goothy goth and goth band. I don't know why I said that. They're a great goth band. A lot of people compare them to a lot of death rock kind of sound. People have compared Ich Mal Deutschland to them. But yeah, absolutely awesome band from Barcelona. They haven't released an album since 2019, I believe.
Okay.
And they teased it, a new song. The song is called Tu I Taraz or Tu I Taraz, but it translates to Here Now. But yeah, I mean, they're saying that they're hope to record it before summer and have it out by the end of the year. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy for that. I mean, because some of these bands, they go so dark whenever, like in between albums. Mm-hmm. I understand that, but but it's gonna be cool. And like the stuff from the teaser I saw, it's a little bit more synth-y based, okay, as opposed to like just a band kind of dynamic, like just rock band dynamic.
Right.
So
I can get into some bleep bloops.
Yeah, me too. So cool.
Awesome.
Belgrado coming out with a new thing. Peter Murphy announcing vinyl reissues for all the solo albums. So I looked into this. It's awesome. I mean, obviously, me and Brian did the huge 2-parter Peter Murphy, or was it 2? I think it was 2, 3, whatever. However many it was. I think it was 2.
A million parts.
We covered them all. And there's some amazing albums. I just totally untapped. Like, why aren't people listening to these albums? I don't understand it. Like, they're so good. I know people know, like, Cut You Up and a few of the songs, but like, honestly, totally untapped, awesome albums. And they're re-releasing them
on vinyl.
Oh,
cool.
Of course, like some of these albums were on vinyl. I think I even talked about in the episode that some of these albums are really hard to find on vinyl. So it's really cool that you're able to get Holy Smoke and stuff, which was a later like 90s album, on vinyl.
Are they doing any remastering to it, or is it just going to be like just a re-release of the old masters?
I don't know. I was wondering that too. It doesn't seem to say what they're pulling from.
Okay.
I mean, there have already been vinyl releases, I think, of pretty much all of these records, but I mean, maybe they're pulling from that. But it's just going to be a really crazy set. Apparently, the cool. Box set's already sold out.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Which this is not that old of news. I mean, it's kind of old, but it's not that old. It's just cool. Just pick up your copies while you can, because this is just some awesome albums. Like every single one of these ones, like even Should the World Fail to Fall Apart, which I know people. It's a like some of these albums are divisive in some ways, because like Holy Smoke just sounds like a Bauhaus album to me. At least it's like a Peter Murphy oriented Bauhaus record. It's like it's a lot darker. The Deep, of course, is just like classic Peter Murphy. Love Hysteria is like so acoustic, and then Should the World Fail to Fall Apart is like all over the place. But that's what makes them all interesting. They're great albums. So if you can, just pick them up. I mean, we already have a number of these already on vinyl, but I'm just letting everybody else know if you want to pick up some cool color vinyl. And well, I mean, the box is sold out, but yeah, just go take a look at it.
Try.
Try to get it. Also, this one was reported by postpunk.com. Broken Sound Tapes. It's coming out with a new post-punk and death rock compilation.
Cool.
It's coming out on World Goth Day. That's why I mentioned it.
Oh, all right.
May 22nd. It's going to be awesome. It's just kind of cool little indie label thing. And
nice. What bands are on the compilation? Do you know?
Let's list out the bands. We have Dead Cells, Horror, Vacui, I think is how you say that. Vision Video, Secret Shame, Feeding Fingers, Solemn Shapes, Vinkus, Entertainment, M Is We, Night Battles, Cold Choir, The Machine Is the Garden, and Dispel. So, again, I'm familiar with a few of those bands, and just some great songs and stuff. I just thought I would include it here because I just really like some of these compilations that come out where it's kind of shedding some light on other bands. I think that's really...
Some bands you have heard of, some you haven't, some new favorites, some old classics.
And you know what? It comes out in the greatest
It
format.
comes out on cassette.
Yes. Look at that. And it's got a cat in the photo on the Bandcamp.
Oh, whoa, that's a really cool cassette.
I know. Awesome. That's so cool.
I might have to get that.
So that's awesome. But it's coming out May 22nd. So, and also coming out on vinyl too if you want to. Look at that. What do you need? I'm not trying to compensate for anything.
You putting down vinyl?
I don't need to compensate for anything.
Yeah.
So that's why I get the tiny cassettes, because I am secure with myself. Is that why I get them?
Yeah, let's go with that.
No, it's not just that they're cheaper and convenient. You can have really cool colors. Whatever. Anyway, I just thought I would say it because I just thought that was a cool thing. I like a lot of these compilations come out. Killed by Death Rock, we're talking about Skeletal Family. Killed by Death Rock 2, I bought that album when it came out, when it first came out. Oh my God. It came with a big poster. Skeletal Family, Promised Land is on there, as well as a ton of other great bands. But some of those compilations, the people put them together really well nowadays.
Yeah. No, I really like I never used to really like compilation albums just because I was so, I don't know, I don't want to say purist, but I'm just I just want to listen to these albums. If I want to listen to the band, I'll just listen to the album. But I've been picking up compilations from local bands recently, and I've been really enjoying it. So I'm probably gonna pick up that cassette, or maybe I'll get a vinyl of it, just to have some variety.
Yeah, and if everything goes well, we might even be on a cassette compilation at some point.
Oh yeah, man! Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be crazy.
That'd be so weird. I really hope that happens at some point.
We'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's all the things. That's it. It's the stuff. So, what do we call that? That was Rigs.
Rigs, yeah. Random interesting goth stuff.
That is correct. Back to Skeleton. So, this is something I can't do. If I try, I just can't do it.
You can't do it?
No, I can't. I guess you could say it's
like a futile combat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
cool. Futile, but yeah.
Futile.
It's a futile combat.
It's a futile combat.
Yeah, like I said, this is not feudal combat, as in warring, Feudal. I think that's how you spell that.
Yeah.
This is Futile combat. So this is the second album by the band. I do want to mention that in between this and the release of the last record, Recollect came out. It's a 6-track release. Got a way better cover than Burning Oil.
Yeah, love that. Love that album cover.
Yeah, so I just want to mention that. We're not covering that, but a lot of songs came out on the later thing that we're going to talk about. We do have some additions to the band here. We have some saxophone.
Oh, yeah, man.
So the people on this album who did the saxophone are Carl Hines and Anthony Thistlethwaite. They also have keyboards done by Graham Pleath. I think that's how you spell that.
Pleath.
Graham, Graeme, Pleath. So that's going to really fill out some of the sound here. Also, we didn't mention in the beginning, the band got their name
from a David Bowie
song. What's that song?
Chant of the Ever-Circling Skeletal Family off of Diamond Dogs.
That's a great album. I still remember that record sat in my very, very first apartment.
Yeah.
When vinyl was still really cheap. Wow. And it was I think it was one of the only ones that I had on vinyl from him at the time.
Really? Oh, so, cool.
Yeah. Just a great record. Good gatefold sleeve.
I need to hunt that one down on vinyl. I don't have that one.
Yeah. Well, now they probably have
remasters and all that.
All kinds of crazy deluxe editions or whatever. But yeah, this is going to be the second album by the band. This is probably the one that you're familiar with. I'll say that. Because this is the one that has their most famous song,
Promised Land.
Yep. And so it's the one that has the video. The one, if you search Skeletal Family, the song that comes up, this album, right?
Yeah.
1985. So 1 year later, right? So, man, bands came out with albums, like full albums of content so quickly back then.
Yeah.
And I get that the band, had already been existing before the first album. So that's usually what happens. They have like a backlog of music.
Yeah.
And then it comes out. So I don't know if it was all written like immediately for this record. But it's a very developed sound on this one. And actually fixes some of the issues that I had with Burning Oil, which is cool for me.
Yeah.
Did not fix the album cover. I don't know what the heck's going on there. What is it? I don't. It's like
it's a tapestry with some like watercolor in the background or something.
I don't understand this. I don't understand this album cover either.
It's weird because the one in between this one and Burning Oil had such a cool.
Yeah, Recollect is an awesome album
it's got
cover.
a cool album cover.
Should just use that, honestly. I mean, I guess it's futile to argue about it. So anyway, right off the bat, hands on the clock. One thing that strikes me immediately is like the better production.
Yeah.
They got the chime intro kind of keyboard thing. I'm assuming it's more aggressive. Also, saxophone.
So much saxophone.
There's a lot of saxophone on this album.
I love it. I love me some good saxophone. It's cool.
I'm not usually the biggest fan of saxophone, honestly, for the most part, but I'm gonna talk about some of the songs that it just works. Like,
it really does, dude. I love it.
Definitely seems like higher production. Maybe they were more experienced from the first record. Definitely some poppier songs.
I agree.
On this record.
Yeah.
And we're going to see just a wide range of sounds.
Yeah. Even some of the songs I feel are like the drums are way more aggressive. They're still kind of that tribally Tom stuff, but like he's like destroying his drums in certain songs. He really goes for it.
I think that, the strong rhythm is great that it's back here. Also just find that the album has a lot more structure. And while the last album, it had a lot of parts and stuff going on, a lot of times the reverb or something about it just felt almost like a little aimless in parts.
Right.
Not necessarily that's a bad thing.
No, it's just...
It's a thing.
Yeah.
But this, it feels like very like...
well thought out.
Yeah, and it's just really structured, and I just liked it immediately a lot better. Move.
Oh, Move's a good song.
That's like...
Dude, that's such a good
so
song.
Good. It's so good. The rhythm, the saxophone... And it turns into like, that song from The Lost Boys, the saxophone guy, I still believe. It's like, it's got this big chorus. It's got these like great shimmery guitars. And then it has these big saxophone parts in it.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. Like,
it's a great song.
It's just great. And like I said, not usually a big fan of saxophone, but it just works.
Does it for your ear. That's
This time, again, westerny guitar parts. Yeah. They also have the thing of like, I talked about how, they toured with Sister Mercy and stuff.
Right.
But I feel like some of this influence of some of the other goth bands came about in this album. And this time, this song reminds me of The Mission, like with the 12-string and stuff.
Okay.
It sounds like this is 12-string. I just like it. I don't know. It's just something about this album.
A cool song.
If you like the first album, you should not be denied. In fact, don't be denied.
Don't be denied. No, don't be denied.
Don't be denied. Because it sounds like the first album.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're worried about like the sound being completely gone, this is not the case.
No.
Which is like what I'm trying to explain about Futile Combat is it actually feels, for the most part, like an actual evolution of the sound, not just we did one thing, it didn't work. Let's do another thing.
No, yeah, I think they built off a lot of what they started in the first album. Especially shown in Don't Be Denied. I would agree with you on that. Fart Near is cool. They have some like weird vocal effects with the pitch shifting.
The demonic voice
yeah,
thing,
dude. I loved it. It was so cool. It caught me so off guard when I was first listening to it.
Yeah, it's just like wait,
it was way out of left field.
It's like a conversation with a demon or something.
I liked it.
Yeah, no, it's actually some really cool stuff. Yeah, the guitar in that too has got like this weird crazy delay. And it's like a lot more playing with the sounds and stuff, which I like.
Yeah.
Like I said, it sounds like they had a little bit more time in the studio to distinguish the songs.
Yeah.
Because these songs sound like radically different in like as far as production and
totally
choices of gear and stuff. Streetlight, again, sounds like Incubus Succubus. But yeah, the one thing this is one of the things. I'm not trying to hate on Anne Marie Hurst here, but this does have one of my pet peeves of vocals. At least I try not to do it. This is coming from as a vocalist.
Yes.
And I try not to do it as much as possible. And You probably noticed this. Mm-hmm. I try not to have the vocals follow the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Like if the guitar goes, damn, 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 I don't want to go, and then I saw.
Yeah.
And
that's fair.
That's more of a preferential thing for me. And but the band does it a lot. So I thought I'd mention it here because Streetlight's a really good song, but that's one thing that I noticed, that the vocals follow the guitar.
Yeah.
And it just never has been my thing. I just always like to have
a lot going on.
Yeah, I like to have one rhythm and all that stuff. And like, you know. I mean, you know.
I do know.
Obviously, where I'm just like, I can't even play and sing this. It's so different.
I'm like, why don't you just do the same thing?
No, absolutely not. This song has 3 chords and I'm singing opera. That is not our band. No. But yeah, there's still some like really cool guitar parts, and we have an actual solo here.
Yeah.
Whoa, blew my mind. She Cries Alone, very famous song. People love this song. Mm-hmm. Again, very atmospheric. The bass and drum intro, it's big sounding, just good. I mean, like a lot of what I have to say about some of those songs definitely sound more like the previous album.
Yeah.
But yeah, She Cries Alone, it's a classic.
Yeah.
I know, but you're probably wondering.
Yeah.
Probably wondering.
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
That's an accurate statement for this song, because it's like ska meets goth.
Yeah, dude.
And, now,
Skoth?
It's goth, yes.
Skoth,
it's
dude.
Goth, yeah. It's ska, death rock. It's so weird.
It's great.
I know I'm saying, oh, ska, you're like, haha, whatever. No, I mean, literally it has like a horn sound like ska music. And it sounds like a ska song mixed with death rock. It's awesome.
It's pretty cool. I love it.
When you first hear the album, everyone's first response is, what is this? What happened?
Yeah.
Because it is that out of like left field.
Yes.
And, but that's what makes it awesome, is that it's so strange.
I love when bands do that, and I don't know, I try to do that with some of the music that I write, where I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna throw like a really weird, just one really weird song and just throw it in there and just see what happens. And I always love it when bands do that. Just get weird, even if they're an experimental band, just going as far as they possibly can just for like one song, calling it good.
Also, it's really funny whenever like really crazy progressive rock bands, they do like one super simple song.
Oh yeah,
and it's like really good, and you're like, why do you guys do it more often? Yeah. But yeah, that song. I mean, if you're gonna listen to any song, this gonna mess with your brain. Listen to What Happened.
Yes,
at least
and you will be saying that.
Yeah, because you know, you could say, oh well, there's like song Just a Minute when when Anne Marie Hurst wasn't in the band anymore. Mm-hmm. You can say that because like, oh, it sounds different, but it's like this is like on the same album as Promised Land, like all these other songs.
Yes,
so that's why it's weird. But again,
speaking of Promised Land,
closer on the album, which is funny because it's a single.
Yeah,
but.
That's classic.
What do you say?
It's a classic song.
What can you say about the song? I mean, it's the classic single. We've probably all heard it. The It's funny because Promised Land, it's so reminiscent of stuff from the first album and like the guitar tones and everything. Like if you just heard Promised Land and you didn't hear anything else, you'd be like, oh, that's like a really unique sound for that band, or that's a really like unique song, whatever. But Burning Oil and Futile Combat have a lot of elements of this song already. Yeah. Traveled before. Like it almost sounds like if you take the production down, it could almost be a Burning Oil song.
I'd agree with that.
So I think it's funny. And that's mostly from like the rhythm and the guitar lines. So like Stan, he tends to have these kind of guitar lines that sound a lot like that. And on the previous songs, so to me, it doesn't seem like a huge jump or anything like that, but it's almost like some of the other songs could be called Promised Land 2 and 3, like the previous song. Yeah. If that makes sense. I'm not trying to say, oh, all the songs sound the same. I'm saying that the elements were already there. But yeah.
That's a good song.
Maybe it's like saying it's not a one-off. Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like a lot of songs on here could have been singles, and they're awesome. And even some of the saxophone stuff, I would have loved to see Move be a video.
Oh, yeah.
But, Promised Land, I believe, is the only like official video that we have from that time period.
And the video's all right.
It's okay.
It's okay. It's a big old field.
Yeah, I know that it's like kind of cool to be not high quality, whatever, to be more DIY or whatever. But it definitely seems like the band is just kind of
there.
Like they're like, let's go film a music video out in the field. And
well, what are we gonna do?
I don't know.
We'll just wing it.
Sing it.
Yep.
Yeah, Anne Marie Hurst doesn't look that excited, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's okay. I mean,
I don't want to rag on it too much.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. It's because even lower budget music videos, it just seems like they're not that interested in making a video.
Right.
I'll put it that way. And so, but yeah, it is what it is. I've seen it a million times, so it's even hard for me to even think of it out of the context of, yeah, of course, it's the Promised Land video.
Right.
Also, this song, I just mentioned this song because it's not only the most famous song, but it's been featured on tons of stuff, like Goth compilations and DVDs and stuff, with the music video being on, I don't know if it was on the Goth box or there's so many of those DVDs I have, but it was on a lot of them and all the Cherry Red Records stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what has given this band a lot of life over the years as well. And sometimes they mix it with the Ghost Dance stuff. There's also some other Ghost Dance stuff in there. But yeah, that's Promised Land. That's Futile Combat. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a solid album.
Yeah. So go listen to it. And you'll wonder what happened. Cameron, I want something that's going to last a long time.
A long time?
A long time. I guess you could say I want it to last forever. What would be another word for that?
Eternal?
I think that's it.
Or do you want something even longer, like eternal, singles, albums, rarities, BC sessions, live demos from 1982 to 2015?
That's exactly what I'm looking for. Just rolls right off the tongue.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's like a Rob Zombie title.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we're going to be looking at. Like I said, it's compilation, and it has like everything.
It really does. It's like 6 hours long or something like that.
Yeah, because it has the two albums we talked about and like all these singles and live stuff. So we're going to be talking about the material that isn't obviously the albums we just talked about. But this is has everything if you want all the Anne Marie Hurst stuff.
Right.
But you may be wondering, wait a second, this is from 2016. Where are all the 90s albums? Where's the early 2000s records? Where's the next album, right? So the band has released other albums with different singers, like other studio albums and stuff, but never with Anne Marie Hurst fully as like a brand new product, here's 10 songs, album packaged. What happened is Anne Marie Hurst and the drummer Martin Henderson went on to do different stuff. This is like 1985, 1986, I believe. Of course, Hurst went on to do Ghost Dance, which is obviously a very popular band that maybe we'll do eventually, with Gary Marks from Sisters of Mercy. Awesome guitars.
Nice.
Super good. I mean, I'm, of course, partial to Wayne Hussey because I love The Mission. Henderson went on to do a different project with Simon Denby from March Violets called Batfish Boys, but they basically went on to go do other stuff, right? And so the band was like, oh, okay, well, let's get a new singer. Let's try and fill out what happened. Yeah. So they signed with Chrysalis Records and released 2 singles, Restless and Just a Minute. Didn't go very well. They were dropped by Chrysalis, and then Trotwood and Hunter went on to do the band Say You. But
Say who?
Say You.
Ah.
But Just a Minute, I mean, we listened to the stuff after.
Yeah.
And it's honestly pretty good in its own right. Yeah, honestly, really good vocals and stuff. I really actually liked the new singer.
Yeah, what's her name?
Katrina Phillips.
Yeah, she had a very, very cool voice. It wasn't as raw as Anne Marie Hurst. It was a little bit more classical, I guess you could say. But again, it's different. It's not any better. It's not any worse. Just a different sound. Different.
Yeah, it reminds me almost like, I don't know, just like kind of a combination of a lot of those 80s singers that you can think of. Pretty good singer. I mean, honestly, I kind of wish they would have done an album with her.
Yeah, agreed.
Honestly. But Katrina Phillips also came back for vocals, I guess, back in 2002. So I still don't think there was an album released with her after that, which sucks. Claire Bannister then took up vocals from 2002 to 2009.
Yeah.
They did a few albums with her. Of course, we have Sakura and there's like another one, but we're not talking about those right now.
No.
So basically what happens after this is they did reunite with Anne Marie Hurst at a certain point. And even on the 2012 album, her solo album, Anne Marie Hurst, Day of All Days, you have Roger Troutwell Noel playing bass, and then you have Stan Greenwood playing guitar on that record.
Nice.
And they talked about how, even when they did the Anne Marie Hurst stuff, like, oh, we were always billed under Skeletal Family. We were always kind of seen as that regardless. Right. And so when they did end up reuniting with her but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So it basically didn't work out. And they got a new singer again. But this basically was the send-off for these recordings. I think, at least in my mind, it seems like that, where trying to gather it all up, do a compilation.
Here's everything you've ever wanted. Listen to it.
Yeah, so at least with this singer. So
yeah.
And they're working on new stuff. So the new vocalist they have now is Hannah Small. Pretty good, honestly.
Not bad.
Yeah. But we do have a release of Skeletal Family Acoustic that came out in 2018, recorded in 2017.
With Anne Marie Hurst.
With Anne Marie Hurst. So if you want like another, just want to hear some acoustic versions of songs, a lot of stuff from, obviously, the stuff with her. And so,
yeah, very cool.
But Eternal.
Yes.
It's a pretty friggin' awesome collection. So if you just want like a heavy...
That's a lot.
Yeah, if you want a heavy dose of classic Skeletal Family, like old school, this is what you're going to want. I mean, it's on... Right, as of speaking right now, in America, this is on Spotify. If you just want to listen to everything that we just talked about this whole episode, this is the thing to look at. This includes both the first albums, the not-album singles, B-sides, some other random stuff. It also included the BBC sessions for John Peel, which I think it's like the first time they were released officially. Right. Also... Janice Long stuff is included, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite stuff on this.
Yeah, the BBC,
the live sessions are so good.
The BBC stuff is, in my opinion, it is the best.
Yeah,
I think the BBC sessions it's like the highlight of this record. Even the songs from the previous releases, like it just sounds better.
They just have a new energy to them, which I really like.
And then the last disc or whatever, I guess on Spotify. I don't know if it's sections by disc,
I don't know.
But it's mostly live material. One of the other things you want to be noting here is that it has Knocking on Heaven's Door with Andrew Eldritch from Sisters of Mercy, and it has Wayne Hussey on guitar. That's awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
Super awesome. So that's something here.
I don't remember the quality being great, though.
It's horrible. It's absolutely it's unexcusable.
Yeah.
But then you also have 4 new songs that were supposed to be, I think, was going to be a new album.
Right.
But obviously that never happened. And a whole bunch of old demos and stuff that was never released anywhere else.
Dude, best cover of Batman I have ever heard. It's so good.
So this has a cover of Batman, like the 60s Batman. I mean, awesome. Like, that is so cool that there is a cover of Batman done by Skeletal Family.
Yeah.
That's just so cool. It's not the best recording quality, but I don't know what the circumstances are, but...
It doesn't matter. It's worth it. I'll take what I can get.
No idea why... That's included here.
They also did a cover of Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
1961 Ben E. King.
Yeah.
We're talking about Stand By Me. Stand By Me.
Yeah, the drums in that were kind of weird for me. I don't know if they were programmed. They almost sounded some
and
of them.
Keyboard and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the best. They don't really, I'll say this. They don't make it into a Skeletal Family song.
No.
It's like they just make an 80s cover of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So...
It was cool in its own respect, but cool covers.
Cool covers. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as far as the other stuff here, of course, we do have the singles. We have Trees. I mean, just, the early stuff, which is awesome, which again sounds like early Cure.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about, like I said, like early Cure, like Pornography, 17 Seconds, Faith Cure. And it's like still a good single. It got creepy, like laughing and kind of Bauhaus, eerie like guitar. But it's Trees. It's a famous single by them, and it's great. Just a Friend, again, synths.
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of funny that like Just a Friend, like you had so many synths on so many of these singles and demos and stuff. But like when I think of Skeletal Family, I don't think of like a synth heavy band.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is so weird to me, but
not tons of synths, no. But when you do listen to a handful of the songs, you do it's kind of eye opening how many kind of weird bleep bloop keyboards are everywhere.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course, all the John Peel stuff, just freaking amazing. I don't even know where to begin with that stuff. I mean...
Oh yeah, they did They did a Wizard of Oz themed song, like totally inspired about Wizard of Oz, which I thought was really cool. And I know you absolutely ate up.
That is one of the best things on this whole release is that they did a song about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's great.
It literally is
called The Wizard.
It's literally called The Wizard. There's a demo and a live recording on it.
Both are great, in my opinion. I love both of them.
So awesome. But it's like, he's the wizard, like in the city. I mean, it is straight up about Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I'm a huge fan of that. I'm so happy that finally somebody realizes how amazing
The Wizard of Oz is.
Yeah, it's an untapped resource for lyrical content.
Because everything in Where You Live is just plastered with Wizard of Oz.
I love Wizard of Oz. It's a great book series. People think it's just like Dorothy and the kids book, whatever, but like there's so many books in that series and they get super dark and it's so imaginative. I could talk about that for ever. But again, that's part of the Janice Long sessions for this too. It's so strange to hear such good quality. Like Burning Oil, like it's probably what most people think of, or like Futile Combat, but like these sessions, like the BBC session stuff, it's so high quality of a recording.
It's so weird. Yeah, I mean the quality is almost as good, if not better than
Futile Combat.
Futile Combat, yeah, absolutely. It's strange, but it's a pleasant surprise. I'll take it.
Yeah, and exactly. And like all the BBC stuff, their just energy is so high.
Yeah.
And that's what really comes through for it. If you've maybe felt like, oh, maybe some of the stuff from the first album is maybe a little phoned in,
a little
like
dry.
Yeah, then this is like the way to listen to it. If you're gonna listen to any disc on it, I really recommend that.
Yeah.
Especially since it has the Wizard on there.
And you're gonna keep plugging that.
Yeah, in that section, as I'm just saying. But yeah, I mean, as far as that live stuff goes, and including all the singles, that's awesome. Like, I don't know how to recommend this more. I mean, I know because we already talked about a lot of the songs that are included here, but the versions are almost superior in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And they just have something about them. I mean, it's hard to describe whenever there's that charm to a recording.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're just maybe just tighter, and good production goes a long way in bumping up a band.
Yeah.
But one of the other things I want to mention is just like the disc 5, where we have a lot of the demos and other stuff and the bonus reunion tracks and stuff. I do like a lot of the demos on here. It's funny because they have like So Sure, which is like the Elements version of it before the band was, it's really cool. Some of the stuff is really rough. I mean, it gets into some super, super rough. The song Puppets, I don't even know who's on vocals on that song, but it doesn't sound like Anne Marie Hurst. And it just sounds super rough. I mean, like we're transferring from a cassette that was like recorded in a room. Yeah, and like the production on these is all over the place, obviously, because it is a compilation and it's 5 discs. So it goes in and out of like super high quality BBC studio recordings to just regular studio album stuff like Burning Oil and all that.
Yeah.
And then to the demos, which honestly, even like The Wizard, because it's on here twice, the demo of it is pretty good too.
I agree. I like it. I don't know. They each have their own charm, in my opinion, between the demo versions and the live version. The live versions definitely have a lot more energy, but again, I'm always a sucker for seeing where songs and ideas originated from. So seeing these like old demos of like early conception of these songs, even if they were never released on like a full album or anything like that, still really cool to see.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Also, talking about the 4 new songs, or the songs that were 2015 demos, I guess. Who the heck records demos anymore? But they're pretty good. I mean, Don't Let Go, Time's Running Out, When I Call, and Only for You.
I liked When I Call. I actually really like that one.
Yeah, I like the cool chorusy bass.
Yeah.
Still got it,
yeah,
man.
Totally.
Awesome. It's actually kind of funny because they remind me more of like the first record, which is funny.
Okay, yeah.
Like I guess the mixing and stuff isn't obviously, but the songwriting component of it really reminded me of Burning Oil. I mean, it's okay. We kind of, maybe if they were developed more, we could have seen where it was going.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have something new is cool.
I'll take what I can get.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
beggars cannot be choosers.
if it's between this or no album, hey, I'll take it. Yeah. But you also have these reunion tracks, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. It's where they basically just played some of the old songs and recorded them new.
Very cool.
And yeah, I mean, the performance, you can tell they're more comfortable with the material. Whether you prefer some of the other versions over it, I guess it's more a preference of taste. You can tell that they're trying to put in the effort. Yeah. And that's all that matters to me. And in the
Same
end.
with me. Yeah, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing and you like the songs, why not?
Am I probably going to play the Peel session over it?
Yes.
Probably. Yes, that is correct. But I think it's cool that they had a little bit of a snapshot of, hey, here's where we were in this time period. It's always cool just to include, because usually, especially when bands reunite and then they don't do anything, or they don't release a new album, whatever, it's like it just gets shelved.
Yeah.
And it's like sitting in somebody's folder for like 100 years and they're like, but the fact that they decided to release like tracks where they re-record the old stuff and the new stuff and like demos and whatever of the more recent lineup and the reunion with Anne Marie Hurst. It's it's cool. It's like you tell it's for the fans.
Yeah.
And that's really awesome. 2018, Anne Marie Hurst left the band. Now we got a new singer. Yeah, I don't know. It's like she's actually still doing stuff. I mean, it's cool. Actually, even 2020.
Anne Marie Hurst?
Yeah. Making some YouTube videos and performances and stuff, which is cool. I mean, to be out there and visible and but
yeah, I mean, it's good to keep that presence going.
Yeah. And Skeletal Family is going on, and they were starting to already perform when COVID hit, and we're still
Thanks.
As of recording this right now, we're in the middle of it still.
I know. You know what I was thinking about? I think it's been almost exactly a year since I've seen a show. Because I saw a show, last time I think I saw an actual concert was like late February of 2020. Like right before everything started to shut down. So I think I'm hitting the year mark of not seeing a show. It's a weird feeling.
It's crazy. I hit like a year. Remember the other day I hit a year of eating in a restaurant.
Oh,
yeah. It was that's right. It was like 10 or 11 months since I had sat down in a restaurant of any kind to any extent.
Yeah.
If I ever ate somewhere, I just got it to go because Washington has been pretty strict about that.
Yep.
But they finally went down enough to where like some places open up. And this place that we go to sometimes, and it was like, we can actually sit down in here.
I know.
So I hadn't eaten in a restaurant, and
I saw your face in public. It was weird.
It was weird. It was weird for me. It was so weird. But so that's where we are with this band. Looking forward to the other episodes. Maybe we'll take a look at the rest of the releases and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know how we'll split it up. I don't know how many. That's almost a bigger question. How will we do the future ones? But anyway,
that's up to you, man.
yeah, I do space out the rest. I'm like, I don't feel like that's gonna be complicated. Let's do these other ones. But yeah, that's Skeletal Family.
Very cool.
At least the first wave of it.
Anne Marie Hurst.
The Anne Marie Hurst era of Skeletal Family. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome. And
I agree. A new band for me, but a new favorite, I believe. I'm really digging some of the songs on here.
Yeah. So if you want some mad saxophone, go to Futile Combat.
Some bleep bloop keys.
yeah, exactly. You want some heavier death rock, go to Burning Oil. Want everything, go to Eternal.
Yes.
All right, cool. Of course, you know what you can find everywhere on the internet. If you want to, you can find it on iTunes. You can find us on Spotify. If you want to leave an iTunes review, you can do that. This isn't crazy. I've seen them.
You've seen them?
I've seen the reviews.
Whoa.
And you can leave one on iTunes if you feel like you'd like to. You can check out some of the other random videos I make on YouTube. Just search GothCast. You'll just find me. I'll talk about the Addams Family, all kinds of stuff. Whew. Yeah. Where does it begin? Where does it end? Nobody knows. Also, I post this to YouTube as well as the GothCast podcast on YouTube. Cameron, what is that? What is that album you released? I can't remember. What was it called?
It was some sort of like overdub of it was Patch Overlap.
Patch Overlap.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's right. The Dr. Sanders Band, in which Cameron is a drummer, collaborator, songwriter with me on that. We released the album Patch Overlap. You want to find the singles? You can do that. You can find that at Dr. Sanders.
Do you want a nice cherry red cassette?
That's right.
You can get that too.
DrSanders.bandcamp.com. So, I see.
Even Erie's excited about it.
Even my cat is excited about it.
Yeah, dude.
Are you excited about that? Yes, I am. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great deal.
That was her voice. that was actually the cat.
So, if you feel like looking up some of that stuff, you can. And, of course, stay tuned for next time. We got a whole bunch of other bands coming up, and
I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something.
Do something. I don't know.
I feel like I should be staying.
Staying what?
Help me out with it, man.
Stay creepy. Stay creepy. That sounds...
Yeah, stay creepy.
That's it.
That's it.
Wait a second. Stay spooky. Stay spooky out there.